Let me ask you a quick question. Imagine you have a magical piece of paper. This paper can be folded as many times as you want without any width limitation, so don't worry about the paper getting too small when you fold it. Now, imagine folding it once. It becomes twice as thick. Imagine folding it again. It becomes 4 times as thick. Fold it once more and it becomes 8 times as thick. Every time you fold it in half, the vertical thickness doubles. Easy enough, right? Let's say you could only fold it in half only once every day. And let's also say you keep doing that over and over again. You could make a fold today and another fold the next day and another fold the day after that, practically making a vertical stack of folded paper. So here's my question. If you were to stand on that vertical stack of folded paper, how many folds, or in other words, how many days do you think it would take before that paper reaches the height of, say, the moon? Take a guess without using a calculator. And by the way, the distance of the moon is roughly 384,000 kilometers. If you were to make a rough approximation, how many days would it take to reach the moon? What would you guess? You can pause the video if you'd like. I can wait. The answer is only about 42 folds in total. Did you get it right? If you're like me, you probably got it tremendously wrong, and that's perfectly fine. The reason I asked is because I want you to think about an even more important concept. If I told you that technological progress is doubling every year, and I asked you how long it would take us before we get to a system that is as smart as a human being, how many years would you guess? Would your guess be close to the actual true answer or number? And more importantly, would you bet your life and future on that number? Stick around and we'll find out together. Hi, I'm Dave. And this is Cope with AI. Human beings are an ingenious species, from crude primitive tools like whacking rocks together, to agriculture, to the wheel, to the Industrial Revolution, and cat videos on the internet. We've constantly pushed the boundaries of what's possible. If you're lucky enough to live in a fairly developed area and you were to take a look around, you might see different structures and organizations that humanity has thus far been able to build. You might see tall buildings, telecommunication systems, electronic devices, fancy aerodynamically optimized sports cars, and government bodies all the way up to a functioning society with a justice system. But everything that humanity has ever created, all the complex things that we have managed to build or invent, can be primarily attributed to a single factor. And that factor is called intelligence. The world you inhabit, the environment you navigate every day, is fundamentally a product of the human mind at work. However, there's another hotshot in town. There's another kind of intelligence. A kind of intelligence that is non-human. And right now, we stand at the precipice of something truly unprecedented. The rapid improvement of advanced artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI. AI is progressing exponentially, and human beings, for one, are really bad at understanding exponential growth. Remember the first question I asked you at the beginning of this video? Well, most people get that question wrong by a very large margin. Why was this hard for most people to guess? Well, it's because it's an exponential, and here is what an exponential graph looks like. To illustrate this point, I'm going to tell you a story about the Human Genome Project, which was a perfect example. It was a project where scientists tried to study and collect all the genetic data included in the human DNA. Halfway through this almost 15-year project, only a mere 1% of the genetic data had been mapped, and people said that if it took us 7 years to map 1%, it'll probably take roughly another 100 years or more to map the whole sequence of our DNA. And many people started considering the project as a failure. Which sounds reasonable enough. If you started a project and after 10 years, all you got done with the project was 1%, you can understand why people funding the project might be skeptical or disappointed. However, there was one man who predicted that the project would be done much more sooner than everyone expected. And that man is Ray Kurzweil. In his book, he predicted that the Human Genome Project would be completed by the early 2000s, even though by the 1990s, only about 1% of the genome had been sequenced. His key insight was that mapping the human genome was closely tied to the exponential growth of information technology, a field doubling in capacity roughly every year. He reasoned that if it had taken 7 years to map just 1% of the genome, and the rate of progress was doubling annually, reaching 100% would require only 7 more doublings, which means about 7 more years. And true enough, the project was completed in 2003. Everybody thought that he was crazy at that time. Many dismissed his predictions as overly optimistic or even unrealistic, arguing that they were based more on historical patterns than on concrete data. Yet, his foresight proved accurate, which underscores the power of exponential growth in technology. So, let's recap. Why am I telling you all of this? Currently, we find ourselves in a similar situation. We're reaching a point where we might soon create something smarter than ourselves. Something that can learn, adapt, and potentially surpass human intelligence. Tim Urban, on his Wait But Why website, rather put this exponential graph rather comically. The reason I gave focus to the graph is because the development of AI technology seems to be on a relatively similar trajectory of growth. According to this research paper, if I showed you the number of research papers related to AI, this is what it would look like. Building advanced AI being a system that is as good or even better than a human, is arguably the most important challenge humanity will ever face, because the stakes couldn't be higher. Since technology is what we use to solve the world's problems and shape the world around us, it stands to reason that building a tool with much stronger intelligence can be the most powerful tool that humanity has ever invented, and might be the last invention that we might ever need to make, meaning we can use the AI to solve all the other problems that we have. In other words, instead of building the pyramids, you can just why not build a machine that stacks up large bricks and it will build as many pyramids as we want? Now, on the flip side, however, getting it wrong could have unimaginable consequences, because the most powerful tool not working as intended can have catastrophic effects. Although creating these advanced AI systems is a really big challenge in and of itself, making sure that the systems work as we want them to is even a much bigger problem. You only need to take a brief look at history to see how humanity struggles with unforeseen and harmful consequences of new technology before finally being able to make it safe. Take nuclear energy, for example. It took decades and near catastrophes like Chernobyl to develop the safety protocols and treaties needed to make or manage its power responsibly. Since advanced AI is a tool that can potentially invent things like nuclear energy and even more powerful things that we don't yet know of, creating safe intelligent systems is one of, if not the biggest problem that humanity will ever face, and getting it right is of utmost importance. But here's the concerning part. Only a tiny fraction of our efforts is dedicated to ensuring that this powerful force that we are creating is safe. According to a report published by the Center of AI Safety, only 3% of technical research is focused on making AI systems safe, with the remaining efforts racing towards increasingly powerful AI. I want that number to really sink in. If there are 100 researchers, 97 of those randomly selected researchers would be focused on how to make AI stronger, while only 3% of people are working on how to make it safe. This channel is dedicated to exploring that exact concept, getting AI right. But what does that getting it right even mean? It involves getting it right on 3 different levels. We want to get the technical safety aspects of AI right. We want to individually transition well to an economy and career that is properly integrated with intelligent agents. And finally, it's no longer a matter of if AI will surpass human capabilities, but when. Before that happens, it's in our best prerogative, or it's in our best interest, to learn how to psychologically and mentally cope with the ramifications of coexisting in a world with another entity that is much more smarter and capable than us. As such, the reasons for this channel are threefold. Firstly, I want to explain, break down, and advocate for AI safety research, otherwise known as AI alignment. Since the topic of AI is going to affect everyone's future equally and tremendously, I believe you deserve to know the true predicament we find ourselves in. You might have heard people say that AI is bad, or heard CEOs and scientists warn about its dangers, but the majority of people don't actually know what the real dangers of AI are, or where we currently are in mitigating those dangers. So in this channel, I'm going to talk a lot about concepts in AI safety and applied ethics and important research papers, and then bring them to you in the public sphere, hopefully in an entertaining and interesting way. Secondly, I want to explore practical ways of leveraging AI in our everyday life and business. You or your business will fall behind in the coming 2, 5, or 10 years in this drastically changing landscape unless you do something about it. The only way to stay ahead is to adopt and pivot alongside this rapidly changing technology. I will try my best to catch up on the latest advancements and try to give you advice and insights on how you can leverage that to the fullest so you can be your most productive. Thirdly, I want to explore what is the best way to prepare to face this loss of meaning and purpose that is going to be created on a societal scale as a result of AIs that are much more smarter and productive than us humans. And so lastly, you might be thinking who I am and what my credentials are. Like, what gives me the right to talk about this? Well, let me give you a brief background. I'm a software engineer currently pursuing my master's degree in artificial intelligence technology. I am planning to write my thesis paper on AI alignment. I'm also an aspiring entrepreneur with the valuable lessons of 3 failed business ventures, each to varying degrees. I have a passion for business and thrive on learning how to create effective systems. I love the entire process, bringing together different ideas and pieces to creating value, to marketing, selling, and managing the financial aspect of it all. Lastly, I am a devoted student of human psychology and ancient Stoic philosophy, driven by the pursuit of meaningful life. Now, what exactly is a meaningful life? That's a question we'll explore together in future episodes. For now, all you need to know is that the principles of minimizing unnecessary suffering, ethical conduct, and voluntary responsibility holds a special place in my heart. I truly believe that building a resilient character and strong principles are the key to humanity's long-term survival and setting the world straight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.